Hello and welcome to our latest breaking news. Here are the detailed headlines. Please stay tuned.
Trump said the Iran oil pipeline will explode. Iran and Russia immediately meet. Tehran has closed most of its commercial shipping lanes while Washington has imposed a blockade on the opposing country's ports. Traffic through the Strait of Hormuz remains restricted. The ceasefire order has temporarily paused full-scale fighting, but the two countries have not yet reached any agreement on terms to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, causing energy prices to soar. U.S. President Donald Trump stated that due to the U.S. naval blockade against Iran, the country cannot transport fuel, and therefore their oil pipelines might not withstand the pressure. He said in an interview with Fox News that what will happen is the pipeline will explode internally, mechanically, and also on the ground. Something will definitely happen. It will explode. They say there are only about 3 days left before that happens. According to him, restoring them to their original state is impossible. However, he did not mention the possibility of the U.S. attacking the infrastructure. According to him, this is one of the leverage points to pressure Tehran, while military power remains the main leverage. Additionally, Iran's IRNA news agency also just reported that Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg. The agency quoted the Iranian ambassador to Moscow regarding details of the upcoming meeting. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will also participate in discussions focused on the current negotiation situation aimed at ending the war between the U.S. and Israel against Iran. The entire shooting incident through the account of a reporter who has covered the White House for 10 years. Britain's The Guardian just published an article by reporter David Smith, who has covered the White House for a decade, about the shooting at the gala dinner organized by the White House Correspondents Association, which was attended by President Trump and senior U.S. officials. The veteran White House reporter experienced the horror for the first time when gunfire rang out at the gala dinner attended by President Trump, clearly revealing the atmosphere of instability and violence increasingly present in U.S. political life. Steep, worrying, unpredictable violence. Over the past decade, I have tracked the twists and turns of America under President Donald Trump with the privilege of an objective journalist. But that night, I felt the darkness approaching so clearly that it was unavoidable. Bang bang. What was that? Where? At 8:36 p.m., panic and chaos engulfed the grand ballroom at the Washington Houston Hotel. People ran in panic and screamed, "Get down, stay down." I saw the guests at the normally jovial White House Correspondents Association, WHCA dinner, men in tuxedos, women in evening gowns, crawl under the round tables, and I almost instinctively did the same. It was a familiar scene from dozens of Hollywood movies. But now it was happening to me, right here, right now. Secret Service agents rushed through the room, weapons drawn, a eerie silence taking over. When I stood up and looked towards the main stage, President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump had been whisked away. In their place were 4 officers in helmets holding guns, standing guard in front of the White House backdrop with the words celebrating the First Amendment. A gray-haired man in a tuxedo was guided past our table, leaning on 2 people because he couldn't walk on his own. Who was he? Was he injured in this incident? No one knew. Guests were chatting, eating spring pea salad with burrata cheese and drinking wine when the incident occurred. Later we learned that an attacker carrying a gun and a knife had rushed a Secret Service checkpoint in the hotel lobby before being subdued. An officer was shot, but protected by a bulletproof vest. As minutes passed, a strange calm gradually returned to the hall as it became clear the danger had passed. A metaphor for the new normal. Reporters called their newsrooms or recorded videos on their phones. One person near the scene said they heard 5 shots, another said 4. An embassy official said the sound reminded him of his time in Afghanistan. Democratic Representative Jamie Raskin recounted that he had been pushed to the ground by Secret Service. People were screaming, panicking. He said he felt relieved now, but clearly the evening was over. Polling expert Frank Luntz commented, "What worries me is that more and more people seem to feel that yelling, threatening, throwing rocks, or behaving badly is justified. For a moment, it seemed like the party might continue. I imagine Trump would use this moment like he did after the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, turn it into a show of character, but security protocol didn't allow it, and the party was postponed. But that's not the whole story. The past 10 years have witnessed many incidents of political violence in the U.S., from the shooting at the congressional baseball practice, the rally in Charlottesville, to the January 6 riot at the Capitol, and the recent shooting in a luxury hall in Washington. Both Trump and the media have glimpsed the fragile line between stability and chaos. Fierce fighting in Mali, defense minister killed. Malian media reports that the country's defense minister Camara and his family were killed in an attack on their home. According to sources, Mr. Sadio Camara, his wife, and 2 nephews were killed in a recent car bombing targeting his home in Keita, a stronghold of the military junta located outside Bamako. The attack is part of a sudden wave of violence erupting in several areas by gunmen belonging to the Azawad Liberation Front (FLA) alliance, in coordination with jihadist groups. Support to Islam and Muslims, JNIM, with continuing fighting in several areas including Keita near Bamako, Kirin, Gao, and Ségou. The Malian government has not yet issued an official statement confirming the minister's death. In recent statements, the Chief of Staff of the Malian Armed Forces said that clearance operations are still ongoing in Kirin, Katy, and several other areas. The Malian military stated that the attacks aim to break the country's defense system and sow fear and chaos, while confirming that the alert level has been raised nationwide. A curfew has been imposed, large-scale patrols have been reinforced, and checkpoints have been strengthened to enhance monitoring of security threats. Malian security forces called on citizens to be vigilant and report any suspicious activity to the relevant authorities. This West African nation has been mired in a security crisis since 2012 due to the rampage of jihadist groups and criminal gangs. Additionally, the country has also experienced successive coups in 2020 and 2021 and is currently led by a military government. Ukraine strikes Crimea, destroys many Russian warships and fighter jets. According to KPOT, likely a misspelling of Pravda or similar. Special Operations Units of the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, conducted a large-scale overnight attack on Russian military assets in the Crimean Peninsula, including the headquarters of the Black Sea Fleet and several high-value warships. The SBU's Alpha Special Forces, acting on the orders of President Zelensky, used long-range drones to attack the Sevastopol naval base and the Belbek airfield. The agency confirmed that the large landing ships Yamal and Konstantin Olshansky along with the reconnaissance ship Ivan Kurs were damaged in the attack. At the Belbek airfield, the strike destroyed a MiG-31 fighter and hit the base's technical operations area. The operation also simultaneously targeted Russia's regional surveillance and defense systems. SBU units disabled a MICE M1 radar station, attacked the Lukum training center, and hit the radio intelligence command post of the Air Defense Forces. SBU acting head, Jeff Henry Camara, stated that this mission aimed to weaken the enemy's ability to control airspace and protect its forces. This combined sea and air attack followed a series of previous successful SBU operations this week. Recently, UAVs attacked the Samara oil refinery in Russia, causing damage to 5 oil tanks and disrupting the mixing of Moscow's flagship Urals export crude. Additionally, a similar strike targeted the landing ships Yamal and Azov, showing a continuous campaign to degrade the combat capability of the Black Sea Fleet. By striking key nodes in Sevastopol and Belbek, Ukrainian forces continue to weaken the industrial infrastructure and logistics supporting Russia's war effort. Mr. Kara emphasized that systematic attacks on the fleet, air force, and intelligence assets will continue until Russia ends its military action against Ukraine. At the same time, according to the Ukrainian General Staff, an oil refinery in the city of Yaroslavl and other targets within Russian territory were also attacked by Ukrainian drones. The oil refinery in Yaroslavl was hit, causing a fire in the area, though the extent of the damage is still being assessed. According to the Ukrainian side, this is a strategically significant facility and one of the key centers of the Russian petrochemical refining industry, with a processing capacity of about 15 million tons of crude oil per year. Another major attack was recorded in Vologda Oblast, north of Moscow, where one of the largest chemical plants in Europe was targeted. According to Governor Georgy Filimonov, Ukrainian UAVs hit the Chernobyl branch of the Apatit company, a phosphate fertilizer producer. The attack caused a high-pressure pipeline to burst, leaving 5 people with acid burns, 1 seriously injured. The city of Chernobyl is about 800 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, demonstrating the capability of the Ukrainian SBU, KF likely a typo for SBU, to strike deep into Russian territory. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry claimed to have intercepted a total of 203 drones in various areas, including the vicinity of Moscow, the Crimean Peninsula, and the Black Sea region. Ukraine deploys remotely controlled drones capable of striking 2,000 kilometers deep. Recently, Ukrainian Minister of Digital Transformation Mikhailo Fedorov said that his country has become the first to scale up the use of remotely controlled interceptor drones, capable of long-range strikes, while confirming that these systems have been deployed to engage aerial targets in real combat. According to the Kyiv Independent, Mr. Fedorov said that through the Brave One platform, Ukraine initiated the development and testing of remote control technology for interceptor drones about 1 year ago. To date, these systems have achieved practical results, capable of hitting targets at distances of up to hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. Fedorov assessed that this technology sets a new standard in air defense, while demonstrating the ability to quickly deploy technological innovations directly on the battlefield. According to him, more than 10 defense manufacturers have integrated remote control technology into their interceptor UAV systems. The Minister of Digital Transformation added that remote control capability allows UAV operators to operate from safe areas inland, like Kyiv or Lviv, or even from abroad, instead of having to deploy close to the front lines as before. According to him, applying this technology improves interception efficiency, reduces risks to operators, and allows for scaling up operations without depending on the geographical location of the front line. He also stated that Ukraine is aiming to detect all enemy aerial targets and neutralize a large portion of them. The effort to develop and scale up remotely controlled interceptor UAVs is carried out through Brave One, a platform sponsored by the Ukrainian government to promote defense technology development. Launched in 2023, this initiative aims to enhance coordination between state agencies, businesses, and research units in the defense sector. The Ukrainian defense industry has also recently recorded a new breakthrough, demonstrating remote control capability through a test considered groundbreaking. Specifically, UAV manufacturer Wild Hornets conducted a flight of an interceptor UAV over a distance exceeding 2,000 kilometers. According to information from this company, the Sting interceptor UAV was remotely controlled by an operator team located in northern Ukraine via the Hornet Vision Control System, which is currently being deployed on a large scale in combat operations. 343 days without leaving the trenches, a Ukrainian company commander recounts the hell of the front line. According to Ukrainian and Western media reports, images circulating on social media show some soldiers on the front line in a state of exhaustion and emaciation. Relatives of these soldiers said some cases passed out from hunger and were forced to use rainwater to survive amid prolonged shortages. Some Ukrainian and Western media outlets commented that the situation reflects logistical difficulties amidst the complex developments of the war. Ukraine accuses Russian drone attacks, which occur frequently, of making the transport of supplies very risky. In some cases, food and medicine had to be airlifted for safety. Meanwhile, a Ukrainian company commander revealed for the first time the brutal reality behind the front lines, where he and his soldiers had to hold on for 343 days without rest, facing continuous waves of attacks and moments of near death in the trenches. According to Ukrainian news agency Pravda, infantrymen are the force that bears the heaviest burden of war, carrying Ukraine on their shoulders, and telling their stories is entirely deserving. Alexei, 37 years old, serving in the 3rd Separate Assault Infantry Battalion of the 128th Separate Mountain Assault Brigade, understands this from his own experience. He spent nearly a year, 343 days, on the front line without any leave. This is one of the longest continuous combat deployments ever recorded in the Ukrainian army. Alexei's case is not only special because of the long duration of his stay but also Because he is an officer with the rank of captain and a company commander of an assault infantry unit. Good company commanders are usually present at the front line but rarely stay there too long because they have many other responsibilities besides fighting. Alexei recounted that even when quiet, the sky is full of threats, but these rare quiet moments are still more tolerable for the infantry. Conversely, the monotony, harsh living conditions, lack of food, and unchanging environment create immense psychological pressure. He added that no one in his company was a professionally trained soldier. They were all civilians, but since being deployed at Orikhiv, they have repelled every Russian attack. According to him, the ideal is 1 month fighting, 1 month rest, but currently that is impossible. Ukraine warns of unexpected Donbass pressure from Russia, causing tense negotiations. The head of the Ukrainian president's office, Kirill Budanov, recently stated that the current conflict has entered a stage where simply increasing the number of drones no longer yields significant results. Both sides have reached the limits of current drone control technology. Fighting between Russia and Ukraine continues to escalate as the city of Dnipro and Dnipropetrovsk Oblast endured drone attacks. Meanwhile, Moscow recorded a large fire lasting several days at an oil facility in Tuapse after a strike believed to be from Ukraine. According to information posted on Telegram by Serhiy Lysak, head of the Dnipropetrovsk Regional Military Administration, Russia conducted a large-scale drone attack on the city of Dnipro overnight. In the meantime, Ukraine's next step will be the full integration of artificial intelligence to create autonomous combat systems. Mr. Budanov added, "We need to move to autonomous systems capable of self-targeting and maneuvering. Ukraine already has such developments. And I am confident that they will soon become a surprise for the opponent." Budanov declared that strength on the battlefield is the key condition for successful diplomacy. He affirmed that Ukraine will not concede territory or compromise against its national interests. The head of the Ukrainian president's office also emphasized the effectiveness of Ukraine's oil sanctions, referring to the attacks on Russian oil refineries. He argued that these attacks not only deplete Russia's resources but also weaken its image as a reliable global energy supplier. Previously, Budanov stated that the Ukrainian government had a specific plan for the Donbass region to protect national interests. He stressed that the Donetsk and Luhansk regions in Donbass would not be a matter for negotiation. And any steps regarding this issue must first serve the interests of the Ukrainian people. According to Zelensky, the U.S. focus on the war with Iran has disrupted the supply of certain key weapons to the Ukrainian armed forces, making the situation serious. President Zelensky once affirmed that upcoming negotiation rounds should lead to a meeting at the leadership level, as this format is necessary to make decisions on complex territorial issues. According to the Moscow Times, Russia began implementing its plan to establish a domestic satellite internet network, the Rasvet system, to compete with SpaceX's Starlink back in 2020. The technology partner for the Russian government in this project is Bureau 1440, a private space company. Bureau 1440 conducted test launches in June 2023 and May 2024. Russia's broadband satellite internet system, Rasvet, has become operational more than 10 years later than its U.S. rival Starlink, causing a battlefield advantage that had favored Ukraine to be balanced. After the significant losses that Moscow forces suffered on the Ukrainian battlefield due to the loss of Starlink connectivity provided by U.S. billionaire Elon Musk, Russia has officially launched its own low-orbit satellite internet system named Rasvet. This is a strong retaliatory move aimed at balancing the technological scales in satellite communications between the US and Russia, while strongly impacting the Ukrainian military. The appearance of Rasvet is expected to level the playing field in this area, helping the Russian military conduct its operations significantly more conveniently, similar to how the Ukrainian army utilized Starlink. Ukrainian forces are really sitting on a powder keg. The battlefield situation is about to see a huge change.